again. Yeah, thank you for taking the time. It feels like there's a lot going on.
I think that's true for all of us, and that is the major part of the message that's coming through right now.
Mm.
That just came through this morning, actually. Time, as we know it, linear time, is being compressed into what is actually real time, which is not now, or is now, but it's not later, it's not past, it's not future, it is now. But it's all being compressed so that we can have the possibility and the ability to expand at a much faster rate because we need to right now. What we need to understand is that the our planet, our solar system, are not the only things that have cycles. The entire universe, multiverse, has cycles. We are at the very end of one of these cycles. We know that. But what we don't realize is that what's going to mark the end, the almost bifurcation, that's the word that's coming through, of these cycles is going to be what has happened about every 5,000 years in the past. Of course, we don't realize that. We don't remember it. We don't know it. It is kind of marked in histories by things like a gigantic flood or things like this. And this is what happens when the sun has what they're calling an eruptive solar flare, but this is not your average solar flare. This is like huge. And it's going to happen, and it's going to change a lot of the ways that are on the earth right now. It has happened many times before. This is not something new. It's not something to be afraid of, but it is something to be carefully aware of. And it is something to be prepared for, which is what a lot of us are doing right now. You see it all around you. I see it all around me. You see this huge amount of people up leveling, um, opening up to new ways of being that 5 years ago, 10 years ago were unheard of. And this is that compression of time, making it so that we can do this expansion, this evolution at just an enormous rate, so that we will be able to handle when this light, this extra wave of light comes from the sun, but it's going to be so bright that those who are still stuck in their darkness are not going to be able to handle it. Those of us who can see the light, who are working on being in the light, we are the ones that will move forward.
Yeah.
Is that enough for you?
So, do you think it's possible to feel it like physically? Because like my sternum in here, it feels compressed, and I haven't felt like this in a long time. And I can't, usually I can do stretches and exercises and it releases, but it's like not, it's not releasing. I think like, and my knowing goes, yeah, because you haven't caught on to what it's here for.
Yes,
And I know my body
absolutely.
has those messages, right? I
Absolutely. And you're not alone. We're all feeling it in our own ways and such.
Yeah.
I tend to feel it. I feel it all over my body. I feel the sternum thing that you're talking about, but I also feel it. My hands and my feet tingle constantly.
Right. Yeah. I've had, yeah. Okay. Thank you. So from the younger generation, Sky, right? He last night, I, I recorded the story again because he, and I don't want to share things that he hasn't given me permission, but he loves it when I share. But past life stuff from another planet, and he related it to his delivery and coming into this world. And I find that he has this, like he's tapped in without knowing he's tapped in when, and then you come and give messages to me too. And I'm like, okay, obviously it's all in the air. And um, with this full moon coming and August turning over, um, I'm also noticing within me, and Sky vocalized it yesterday. He said, Mama, I don't feel safe. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of fear-based stuff as well as the light, just like you said, right? When we're ready, we can make ourselves ready for this change. We can go with the flow. We can learn from ourselves and each other, da, 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 or we can get stuck and not be okay with what's coming and what's
Yes.
happening already. Um, can you
And
like,
by the way, as you said that, my foot started itching
yeah,
in one spot on my foot.
okay, yeah, yeah, and with this full moon too, it's a super full moon, right? Coming up on the 1st or 2nd of August, and this one person is talking about how you know um it's kind of a chiller month. There's nothing big like big celestially happening, but at the same time it's like live and let live, and don't get caught in the drama, and avoid trying to control anybody, and all these things. I'm like, well, that doesn't seem benign to me.
And at the same time, be very careful of your communication.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Why do you say that? Like, I have a sense of it, but
The in encased in all of what you just said is watch your words, watch how you're communicating, watch, you know, look for not just the words, but the other communications that you give out. What are you putting out into the world?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so with that, when we aren't grounded in our root chakra and we don't feel safe, and yet we can see what's happening, but it's really hard, like we're struggling. Can you or the wisdom keepers like give us some guidance on what, sorry, little feet are going up the stairs right at my wall. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's okay. Um, like, can you touch on that or help?
Yeah, the biggest message coming through is for those of us who are sharing in the evolution through light, and everything is energy. There's light, there's sound. In this case, it's both, but it's primarily light. And it is to forgive yourself, forgive others, allow for the flow. The best way, and they've said this and they keep saying it over and over, is allow the flow. That's going to be it, it's the example coming through right now is you have people who are in the dark and they're just clinging and they're like grasping at everything. This is not the energy that's going to help you get through. The energy that's going to help you get through is it's going to be okay. It's all right. Let it flow. Be in the moment. Thank you, Ramdas. Just flow, just flow, just flow.
Okay.
And it's hard to do when you've got the entire world around you seeming in chaos and going just nuts.
Yeah. And
And someone recently asked me, well, how do you do that? And I said, you do it as many times as you need to. If
right.
you need to do it every minute, okay, in the flow, in the
Yeah.
flow. Bring yourself back. Bring yourself back to the breathing. Bring yourself back to, in this moment, everything is fine.
Yeah. And you know, half of me says yes, and teaching that to our kiddos, they know more of this than we do. And then the other half, like the more human, like tangible part, says kids have a hard time grasping flow and stay in the moment. Like especially I'm finding like Sky's stage where he's in, it's that autonomous, pushing the limits, still very tender and loving and obviously very insightful, for my kiddo. But he's realizing, oh, he's in a limited body and he's here to stay, and he has a big job and he's talking about life purpose and all this stuff. And so I, when I share things with him like this, of going with the flow, he either can take it and run with it way better than I can, or it doesn't resonate. And so, like, I talked to him this morning about it and asked him what he thinks we can do together, because I'm feeling the same way, on how to feel safer, when we're not feeling safe. And he pointed to the part of his body where he doesn't feel safe, and it was like the root chakra, right? And I was like, okay, well, yeah. There we go. And so I immediately thought of like light therapies, or like having more red around us for that chakra and stuff like that, that's more tangible, that humans like, like we want to be able to touch something in order to know it's real, even though we don't, on the spiritual side, need that. And I feel like that's a lot, right? Like it's that right now. It's the human and the spirit trying to. It's the spirit trying to get the human to go, I'm always here. Just breathe. Just flow. Sorry, that was a bit of a ramble, but it's kind of what's been happening like lately. So
And it's all the flow. And the kids do still know how to flow. And part of it, he is flowing. Right now, we would like to think that flowing is just this nice, gentle, easy river. Well, rivers are not any river. Every river
yeah,
is not always nice, easy, gentle. It has rocks in it. It has, stuff in it that you will come up against and go around. You can still flow around that. And what he's doing as he's growing into these new stages is precisely that. Oh, rock, okay, flow around this. How do I do this? How do I get on? How do I go over it? Do I go around it? How do I manage to navigate this? That's still, it's all the flow.
yeah,
And do we need to use methods? Methods are there to support us. They are there for us to be able to use. We don't want to get caught up in them. We want to realize that every method is a trap if we allow it to be, but that every method is also a tool. And each tool, when you need it, you want the right tool. You will know what it is. If you need a hammer, you know you don't need a screwdriver. You have a tool for whatever purpose you need, and you should be able to use that tool, but don't get so caught up in it that it becomes an obsession or an addiction. You want to be able to use lots of different tools as they're needed. That's why we have so many of them available to us now.
yeah, yeah. I really like that. I really like that. And that's, you and I have talked in the past about redefining things, right? And that constantly comes up. Like the last year, I am constantly, and yeah, yeah. Okay. Would like spiritual connection be considered a method here, like as a tool, because it's still something we think we need to do and practice until it just is? Or it's kind of a hard question.
A
I
tool
agree.
is anything we decide it is. The spiritual connection is always there, always has been, always will be, cannot be separated.
Yeah.
At the same time, if we need to use it as a tool, we can, as long as we don't try to make it something that it's not. It it's not actually so much a method as connecting to yourself. And at the same time, it is something that most of us, almost all of us, even the masters, have had to practice for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's both. And this one, you can allow yourself to get sucked into, drawn into, addicted to any tool, anything that you decide is a tool. The way to avoid this is to remember your and all divinity. Everything is energy, just energy, and everything flows. And if you are practicing your spiritual connection and it's flowing, that's good. If you find that you, quote, need, unquote, this spiritual connection, you may be taking it over the line. That's why all the masters will also say, all the tools are traps, don't use them if you don't absolutely have to. And a lot of masters will turn completely away from using all of these tools and all of the powers because they know what a trap they are. And we don't need those.
Right.
But at the same point in time, some of the masters will use those very sparingly, some of them not so sparingly, to and this is a quote and I can't remember which one of them said it. I give them what they want so they'll want what I have.
Hmm.
And that they are using those powers and tools to be able to show, hey, there's something much beyond what you have been seeing here.
Yeah.
I invite you to look at it and see if it's for you, if you want to do more with it.
Right.
They're not getting caught up in the tool. They're not getting caught up in the method.
Yeah. And I can see how it could be um um uh just that phrase, like I had a big reaction because it almost feels um like greediness on the other side of it. Like someone could say those exact words and try to, you know, get rich or find the other. I don't, it just see it's there's the light side of it and there's the dark side of it, and it just felt like, ooh, could be very harmful in the way that people will follow without asking themselves and trusting themselves if something is right, you know. So, oh well, this guy said it's right, so I have to believe him, and like, ugh, no.
This is where the wisdom keepers come in very strongly again with the we choose whether or not to give away our power. If we hold our divinity within us, and everybody holds their divinity within us, and we all respect each other's divinity, there is no power structure that will be given that we would give our power to, and we will know better than to. We don't need to give our power to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We do know what is right for us.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't remembered that, and a lot of people still don't remember it. But that's part of what we're doing right now with this compressed time, is remembering faster
Mm-hmm.
so that we can make sure that we don't go into exactly what you've been talking about. That's the whole point,
Yeah.
is choosing not to go there. Many of these societies that the wisdom keepers came from started with what I'm talking about, but they, in one way or another, allowed a power structure to be, and in allowing this power structure to be, they allowed for corruption in that power structure and for people to give their power away to that power structure. It's what they are cautioning against, strongly cautioning against right now.
Yeah. I keep sorry, I keep looking up because it's outside. It's a window and I need to like I naturally look outside in order to ground because that like what you just said brings up a lot of that fear stuff. Like, ugh, it's like sitting in the my throat chakra apparently. Apparently I need to say something about that.
That's your generational ancestral traumas coming up.
Yeah.
And we all have those, and that's very likely what Sky is feeling too. This this fear doesn't come from him. However, you live in a wonderful place for grounding, for not, that's a wonderful place to feel more safe.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we're lucky for sure. And for those who, don't have nature readily available, there are all sorts of ways to connect with that, by having house plants or by having excursions where even you go out into the city and you find a tree, you know.
Pictures on your wall.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, visualizations and stuff like that. Um, yeah, there's a lot out there. Those are the tools again, right?
Yeah, or even realizing that absolutely everything is of the same energy.
Hmm.
It's all just energy.
Yeah.
They may be in a place where the compressed energy is a little more human modified and less natural. That doesn't make it any less energy. That doesn't make it any less sentient.
Yes.
Yes, can a high-rise building be sentient? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Everything is.
Yeah. So can we go to this time compression thing again? Um, how my brain goes, how long are we going to have to deal with this?
And the answer is not very long, but that I don't know on whose timeline that is.
Yeah.
I can't tell you exactly when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, they did it now, and it continues to be compressing, 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 for us to hurry up, so to speak. Uh, get on the ball. You don't have that much time left.
Yeah.
How long is that? I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I have been informed that we are already seeing events. We will continue to see more events, all over our world and in our personal lives. This is going to just It's going to get more condensed. What used to happen in like many years, maybe even lifetimes, is now happening in a very short time. um, some of us are being able to quote reach enlightenment in a matter of a couple of years
Yeah.
or even less.
Yeah.
And so it's extremely compressed, and that's why it feels kind of heavy. It is pushing in on our bodies as well as pushing in on everything else.
Yeah.
because it is so compressed. However, it's what needs to be right now so that the most of us that can will be able to evolve. The most of us that will choose to evolve will have the ability to do so in the limited time that we have before, you know, you can only, it's like a bubble in reverse. You can only push in so far before it, well, that's what's happening. And it's happening to our sun as well as it is to everything else. And so everything is condensing, and it's going to, it's, I don't want to use the word explode, but that's what's coming to mind. And it's going to then be very freeing for those of us who move on.
So something that comes up is for those of us who are in business for ourselves and looking to help others in different ways, is this time of condension? That's probably not a word, but the time of condensed feeling, time, whatever, energy. Um, is this when we need to get over ourselves and go into that deep stuff and start what our purpose has been nagging us to do? Or is this like the time to step back and look to see if that's what we're supposed to be doing? Like, do we challenge ourselves in this time? Do we step into the deep end of things, or are we to step back and just let things flow? Or is there a flow on the other challenge side too?
I'm going to start this with a quote from a 12-year-old. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. If you haven't already done exactly what you've said, there's no time like the present, but you better hurry up. As far as business is concerned, if you're in a business that is not serving your purpose, that needs to be changed. This is the time of your purpose. And not just that, this is also the time where that model, the old model, completely falls away. And the new model of service, service for everyone, it has to serve all people and not just a few. And that has to be brought into, it's not, there is enough abundance for everyone to have plenty. No one needs to hoard it. Everyone needs to be able to have their fair share. And that's extremely possible. But the old model does not allow that. The old model is more, 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 more. And that's what is causing and has caused in many civilizations past issues. That's what, when the power structure becomes corrupted, that is one of the main ways that it shows itself. And that's how you can tell a corrupted structure, is by looking for, does it serve the people equally? Does it serve all the people equally?
Yeah.
Even though each and every one of us is an individual and we are not necessarily, quote, equal, we have equal sovereignty within us because we are all from the same source, and the same source is abundantly equal everywhere. We still have our own purpose. We still have our own reason for being here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that help?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that came up was when, the time is now, and time as a definition is not, like it when we think about it, it can be vague because this compression time is We don't know how long it is. It could be a very short time, like in the linear sense that we generally think of it, or, so yeah, now is now.
The best I can come close to, and this is by no means a prediction of anything, is that we will see changes continuing through 2023 and 2024. And by the end of 2024, we will have seen things that we never thought would happen.
Okay.
I can't say for sure what those things are,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what I'm getting, is that if we need to put it in some sort of a time frame that humans can understand,
Mm-hmm.
that would be, does that mean it's going to end all in 2024? No, I don't think so at all. I think 2025 is going to be, there will be more fun things to imagine and see. And that truly is what we're all doing. We're all imagining. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to get over the fear, understand we are imagining, we are making all of this. Everything is in our imaginations.
Yeah.
It is not real. It is all we're all here in form to experience source, in an experience, to be source's experience,
Yeah.
which we allowed ourselves into. But that also means that everything we're seeing is not real. And therefore, you don't need to be afraid of it. If it doesn't serve you, you can think about, can I change this? Or how can I change how I am seeing, feeling, or how experiencing this? What can I do to make it feel more peaceful, more free for me?
Mm-hmm.
And in so doing, make it feel so for everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, and like equity comes up because you were talking about equality, right? And then in turn equity. Like I don't require the same as you require, in order to get there and or to get anywhere, to do anything. Um yeah, and that concept.
Because we are all, as much as we are all equally pieces or parts of source, we are all equally individual experiences.
Mm-hmm. We are all equally individual experiences. That's a lot. When you think about how many people are on this planet, how
And
many,
how many people have lived throughout all of the, yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. And Sky talks about reincarnation all the time. And sorry about the banging. Hopefully it's not too loud. Yeah, and he brought up another question the other day that I have been thinking about for forever. How, when our loved ones pass away and go home, if you will, what if they reincarnate, but we still want to connect with their energy?
Oh, but that one's a nice one. That one, because everything is all the time right now. You are every lifetime you've ever lived. And at the same time, you are the energy that never lived any of them. Are they still there for you? Absolutely. Could they be in form and still there for you? Absolutely. There's not an issue there. There is no separation.
Yeah, yeah, that was more succinctly answered, thank you, than my answer. But I was like, oh, well, this is what I think. Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. Oh, is there anything right now that you feel you or the wisdom keepers want to share as we're holding this space together?
Now, you may have noticed that they have been here the entire time
Always, yes.
and that there is no separation.
Aha, love it.
So I'm not, let me see if there's anything else they want to say. They want to emphasize just once again that there are only two ways of being in the world. There is fear, and there is, they are hesitating with the word, but the word is love. They're calling it not fear, fear and not fear. And the fear is the separation that we perceive, but that is only a perception. In truth, there is not fear, there is not separation, there is only wholeness and oneness. And if we continue to concentrate on wholeness and oneness, and especially through these very, very disconcerting times, hold to like people, because that's where the energy is going to, of oneness, is going to be multiplied most. So continue to hold to the people who get you, who understand. Maybe they don't understand exactly who you are or your mission, but they understand a lot of what's already been said. And they accept you. They respect you for the person that you are and for the divinity that you also are. Hold to those people. They are the strength that will help the web to be able to move forward.
How lovely. Even if it's just one person, right?
Even if it's one person making this difference is stronger than a million people trying to hold the old way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't always feel like that. In fact, frequently it doesn't feel like that. The dense energies can feel like they're just pulling and pulling and pulling you down. But if you're in the river and the dense energies are pulling you down toward the water, and you think about the air up on top, you're going to float right up, right past all of those energies.
I like that.
I love allegory.
Perfect. They have the right audience.
Well, and they're right. You know, people have always learned better from stories than they have from anything else.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been really powerful. I'm aware that we've almost been talking an hour, and it's probably a lot of energy for you too, you know.
I have my water.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, really connecting with the self, isn't it? And knowing that the work we personally do, whether on the inside or the outside, whatever it is that we individually feel we need to be focusing on for ourselves, connects to that web and does good and service as we do service to ourselves.
Even if you just connect with your inner self alone, in a room, in a cave, whatever happens to be,
Yeah.
you are connecting with source, which is connecting with everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
They're asking, do you feel better now?
Always, always when I get to deeper connect with you and them like this. Yes, of course. Thank you.